A growing backlash tonight over a film that is trying to bring attention to the so-called honor violence inflicted on Muslim women around the world. The film is called Honor Diaries, and while it has been shown dozens of times on U.S. college campuses, not to mention at the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva, several U.S. universities have postponed or flat out now canceled screenings of the film after groups like the Council of American-Islamic Relations, or CAIR, complained that the film is Islamophobic. Here's a clip from the trailer.
Anything from wearing short sleeves, refusing to wear a headscarf, being seen talking to a man.
Those things can be deemed dishonorable.
Thousands of women have been detained for dressing un-Islamically. Like this woman screaming as she's pushed into a police car.
The honor system in Muslim-majority societies is really the basis of a lot of harm that is perpetuated against women.
It's systematic, institutionalized misogyny.
I was crying and begging him to stop. Then he put his hand on my mouth like this. I couldn't breathe. I was crying, but he used me anyway.
The issue of forced marriages, child marriage, and honor abuse is a worldwide problem. When you do dissent with what is portrayed as mainstream belief, you are ostracized. There are threats of murder, there are threats of rape, physical mutilation.
So why would a group like CAIR want to silence such a film? Brooke Goldstein is a human rights attorney who first brought this issue to our attention, and Agnieszka Karolek is senior communications coordinator for CAIR Chicago. Agnieszka, let me start with that question to you. Why would CAIR want to silence this film?
Well, first of all, Megan, thank you for having me on the show tonight. And I wanted to let you know one thing that CAIR is not against. We are not against talking about these very serious issues. CAIR actually put out a statement recently that you put on your show last night that we are against female genital mutilation, honor killings, any forms of violence against women. What we do want to do, however, is tell the public about the funders behind this film so that the public can make their own informed decision about whether or not they want to show it, screen it, or watch it.
Okay, but it seems that you object to the film being shown because you object to its content. I mean, if you don't like the filmmaker, that's one thing, but you appear not to like the content as well because you're happy that it's getting canceled.
That's not true at all.
Well, you sent out a tweet today with a smiley face saying that it had been canceled at one of these universities.
One of the universities that decided to postpone the film actually was brought about by students on the campus and faculty who were concerned once they found out who was behind this film, which is the Clarion Project, which is a well-known Islamophobic organization.
Okay, but here's what I'm trying to get at, and I appreciate you being here. You know, your side needs to be represented, and we tried that and had some trouble. That was outlined on the show last night. But I understand you don't like the group that made the film, but the film stands or falls based on its own content. And I'm asking you, what about the content in this film do you not like?
As I said, we don't have a problem with the content of the film. I understand that there are women who participate in this film who are Muslim women who work on these very serious issues. What I'm personally disgusted by as a Muslim woman, as a feminist, is that someone like the Clarion Project would take this film and use it to promote their own hate-filled agenda. That's my problem with this movie.
Brooke?
You know, it's unbelievable because CAIR is obviously protesting the content of the film, and it's an indefensible position. I think the audience deserves to know who the Council on American-Islamic Relations is. Its sole purpose, it was set up to be the PR arm of the Muslim Brotherhood. It has connections.
That is not true.
That is absolutely true, and let me speak. It has connections to Hamas. It was founded by two people who are deeply connected to Hamas. In fact, the former counterterrorism chief of the FBI said that CAIR effectively aids international terrorist groups. Senator Chuck Schumer said CAIR has ties to terrorism. Everybody knows that, and the founders have intimate links to Hamas.
This is not true.
So CAIR is not an authority on what Americans can and cannot see. CAIR operates as the Islamic speech police. It goes around bullying and intimidating anyone who is brave enough to speak publicly about the threat of Islam and Islamist terrorism, and violence in the Muslim world. And now it has gone too far. It has bullied students into stifling their First Amendment-protected free speech rights to air this film. If CAIR doesn't want you to see it, you should take it as a cue to go out and watch this movie because you know there's truth contained therein. And what CAIR does, it deflects from the issue.
Let her respond. Stand by, Brooke, because I want Agnieszka to respond to what you said. Go ahead.
Thank you, Megan. As I said, many student groups who became aware funding behind this project, behind this film, grew very concerned, and they actually started conversations on their campuses. Many of them said that they wanted to start their own events, asking domestic violence abuse organizations in our own cities who work with Muslim women here in the United States, because again, CAIR is actually a domestic organization. We're the biggest Muslim civil rights and advocacy group here in the United States.
No, they're
not. And we help Muslims here in the United States.
No, they're not. They're a self-appointed group that claims to be a civil rights group, but it's anything but. CAIR has a systematic campaign to go around and target anybody who speaks publicly about the threat of militant Islam as Islamophobic. And they do this time and time again, and they're targeting the people within the film. And shame on them for doing that. CAIR has sued a former Congressman, Cass Ballinger, for calling CAIR, quote, a fundraising arm for Hezbollah.
They're very litigious, and they don't like any segment. They don't like any segment about that.
I'm here to talk about the film.
I understand. But CAIR has become part of the story because, for the reasons we discussed last night, we discussed this movie last night, and you won't be surprised to hear, Brooke, that they wrote us an email demanding a retraction. Well, guess what? You're not getting it. Agnieszka, I want to ask you, because it sounds like you are in favor of the students speaking up and making their voices heard, but I still do not understand why calling attention to this problem that affects Muslim women would be objectionable to you. I mean, as a Muslim woman yourself, don't you want this to stop? And how do we make it stop if we don't shine a light on it?
Of course I want it to stop. And as I said, there are many Muslim women and organizations right here in the United States that are working on this issue, like the CAIR Project. They're working with My Jihad around domestic violence.
And many Muslim women are featured in this film.
Exactly. And as I said, I have no problem with the women featured in this film. I have no doubt that many of them are working around these issues. But I asked them to question why they participate in this film if they knew who was funding it.
What's wrong with the people who are funding the movie? Because they're Jews?
The CAIR Project has been named.
Yeah, it's been
I'm not saying that. The CAIR Project has been named as an Islamophobic organization.
And then I've got to go. Let her respond, because CAIR has not received a defense. Go ahead, Brooke, quickly.
What qualifies as being Islamophobic is raising awareness about Islamist terrorism and advocating for the human rights of Muslim women. That's what qualifies as being Islamophobic, and that is what CAIR is objecting to, the fact that Jews produced this movie.
Okay, I got to go, but I want to tell our viewers the University of Michigan at Ann Arbor, they canceled the screening of this film. This is the same campus that is featuring a highly controversial art installation on abortion, calling abortion a life-sustaining act. Abortion. That's fine on the campus of University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. Celebrate abortion. But a film that tries to call attention to this situation for Muslim women, when women forget about it, that's banned. That's the world we live in. Ladies, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.